First, in our Lagos studio, we have, of course, the presidential candidate of the AAC, that's the African Action Congress, in the person of Omoyele Shore. Thank you, sir, for joining us this morning on our show.
Good morning. Happy New Year to you and your crew.
Same. Okay. Yeah, and here in our Abuja studio, we have Ina Okpopiago, National Secretary, African Action Congress Party. We're glad to have you here this morning.
Thank you very much for having me.
All right. Also joining us for this conversation is Comrade Philip Oshokwe, and he is the National Organizing Secretary of the AAC.
Thank you for having me, and good morning, Nigerians.
All right.
Well, of course, we are hoping to have another guest joining us from Kano very shortly. But for now, it's we are here this morning to discuss the AAC presidential campaign. And we are lucky to have the presidential candidate of that party obliging to be with us this morning. So once again, Mr. Shore, it's good to have you join us. Now, let's look at Nigeria. As a nation, we all believe and know has a checkered political history. And that where we are today is a clear indication that we've gotten things wrong for so many years. And today we are trying to be correctional to see what we can do to reverse the trend. And there are so many issues across all sectors of national life. And I'd like you, a presidential candidate of AAC, to begin by giving Nigerians an idea of your understanding of this nation and the possible ways you think you can change the course of history of our nation politically.
Thank you once again for inviting me here. I am a young person who has been part of Nigeria's institutional life for over 3 decades. And it started when I arrived at the University of Lagos in 1989. So pretty much in the last 3 decades, I have been involved in fighting to correct the ills afflicting our society. And I would, if you grant me permission, list some of them. Our greatest challenge when I arrived at the university was to transform Nigeria from a military setting to a civilian regime. So I engaged in a lot of struggles. I was part of those who struggled to end the crisis in Ogoniland. You know, I fought along those environmentalists, including Ken Sarawiwa, late now, who was murdered by the Nigerian state. I helped fight for the struggle to ensure that the Nigerian democracy was stabilized after 1999. Particularly, I was one of those who struggled to ensure that a 2-term president did not, have a 3rd term. When there was a crisis over the issue of a sick president and transfer of power, I was very instrumental to ensuring that there was justice in that regard, that his VP was not sequestered away from power. And subsequently after, I engaged in media struggle. I've been in diaspora for over 20 years. And every air I breathe is about Nigeria. Every struggle I've waged is about how to make Nigeria a better place. And I just got to a point as of 2018, 2019, I said, look, we've been helping a lot to help make Nigeria great from the non-governmental aspects of our struggles, and decided to join partisan politics, and then started our political party, the AAC, from the scratch in 2018, August to be specific. So I'm no stranger to the situation in Nigeria. If Nigeria is 62 years old, I have participated actively, actively in at least half of that period of Nigeria's history. And I'm proud to say here today that I understand Nigeria so well, too well, having also participated in journalism and investigative journalism in particular, that I don't know of any candidate that can boast of that kind of pedigree as myself. just to quickly tell you that by 1992, I had become a student union president of the University of Lagos. And I say this with pride because it's not a small feat to not only be a student union leader, but to be a student union leader at a critical period of democratic crisis and confusion in the country. Whereas other political, contestants today who are contesting for president probably just ignored Nigeria at that point. Those who were actively participating were doing so in their own interest and for their own interest. So this is, in a nutshell, how to explain to Nigerians that you have in front of you today, probably a young-looking Nigerian who probably have more experience than a lot of older Nigerians who, of course, not because they don't want to participate, but have not done so actively as I have done on the political side of things. So that's in a nutshell a summary of my life history. A very interesting life.
Very, very interesting life indeed, Showore. Good to see you. And there's no doubt that your antecedents are well documented. Of course, whoever wants to know, your journey can Google and, what you have done and where you have been uh, will pop up. But I just want to begin my question with you from the point of view of a frontline, story from one of the papers this morning, and it says that it referred to some of the smaller parties, the fringe parties, are yet to be seen in terms of campaign. So I'm going to begin my question by asking you, how is campaign for the AAC? How has it been?
Campaigning, I think Nigerians have only been used to the style of campaigning, in my view, that is not only archaic, but denigrating. Now, what is it? You go pay some people, pack them in a stadium because we've all weaponized poverty over these years. Not even say a word to them. You bring in musicians and comedians, and then the candidate himself speaks for maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes in an echo chamber, and then it's over. What we decided to do, because we are also frontline, technologically advanced people in our party. We are largely a youth party. We are using other methods because first, we don't have the kind of deep pockets some of these old politicians have to hire stadium and fill them up with people who don't want to be there. So we are approaching our system by using what we call people's assembly. So we're going to the grassroots. We've been in Kano. We've attended a lot of professional meetings across Nigeria in recent months, and we've spoken to people and heard directly from them. It has been a two-way channel. We're doing a lot of media. We're doing a lot of social media activities to ensure that people who need to hear from us and who can transmit this information about a special dedicated party to reforming or transforming Nigeria is out there talking about the issues. We are approaching this from the point of ideas, not noise. So that's probably the best way to describe how we've been campaigning, because we want Nigerians to know, for once, that campaign doesn't start and end with uh, campaign rallies. That is all about ideas. So attending town hall meetings, which is something we brought innovatively into the campaigning system in 2019, is completely in order. We have campus tours. I've been to at least one campus to talk to students. I've been to town hall meetings by pharmacists, by accountants in this country, by doctors in this country, and all those people who are directly affected and who can speak to and explain to us what is going on with the country and how to fix it. Those are the people we've been talking to largely. We're not saying that there's anything wrong with holding massive rallies, but in 2023, we don't have to, or you're not under any obligation to apply 1922 strategies of campaigning, which is just uh, drumming and shutting down streets with rallies. And we're not saying that we will not do that, but we feel that our style of engaging with the public is very, very effective and efficient, and very eco-friendly as well, because we don't have to drive vehicles and pollute the environment. just because we want to be at a rally to tell a story that doesn't exist.
Okay, thank you. We are staying with you because you are the alter ego, of the AAC, and I want to lay a fundamental background for us to take off this conversation because we'll be delving into some specifics, as you get on. But I want to ask a fundamental question here, which may not have to do with your campaign. You know, for some of us who have a political science background, we want to understand certain things, the philosophy of parties, the ideology of parties. Yours is a conglomeration, of different parties, which came together. Now, how do you reconcile, the differences in ideology and philosophy of those who actually formed those other parties before it came to become AAC? And again, that was a statement attributed to you not quite long ago when you said that yours is not going to be a government of palliatives. On the other hand, I also heard you saying that you're going to bring in socialism into the ballot. Now, how do you divorce palliatives and socialism? Let's Nigerians understand you properly, where you're coming from.
Well, I want to correct the impression that we are a conglomeration of parties. No, we are a conglomeration of, we are a diverse group of young people, largely young people. We weren't part of any political party. We started our party from the scratch. And just so that you can understand what I mean by palliatives, palliatives are warehouse products that are used in Nigeria's sense to just instantaneously likely deceive citizens in a period of crisis to say, look, you just take it. It's just like applying band-aids on a body of cancer that is killing you. What we are saying is that instead of palliatives, we want to institutionalize support and help for the poor where we need to, and support for citizens. So instead of a warehouse, we want to set up an office for social security for workers. It's not as if we don't have now, but it is not operated the way it is maximally or efficiently operated by those who do it in other places. With regards to our socialism is saying, look, whatever belongs to you as a Nigerian should not be sequestered or put aside for a few, that everybody should enjoy what belongs to Nigeria. Everybody must have heard about a country called Norway. They're also an oil producing nation, like our nation, but every dime they have in that country, every cent they have in that country has been put aside for their country, men and women, to support education, to support healthcare, to support infrastructural growth. They have some of the largest funds in the world. These are Nordic states, Denmark. They pay students to go to school. So that's our kind of socialism, so that people do not go around scaring the Nigerian public with socialism. There's nothing wrong with it to own your own country's resources and use it for the people of the country. We have no problem with participation of the private sector in the economy, but we don't want an economy that is driven by the private sector to the point that the country pays for their mistakes, and when they succeed, the profit belongs to them. But when they don't succeed, the losses belong to the people. That is what we are seeing in the very convoluted Nigerian style of capitalism. I lived in a very capitalist society, the United States of America, for 20 years. And I've said it on TV several times. When COVID hit, they were paying citizens, they paid 3 times their citizens, certain amount of money, $1,600 at the first, then there was a 400, and there was another $1,400 paid out to citizens. They made sure that ambulances were working. They made sure that students were going to school from home through virtual learning. But in Nigeria, our politicians were hiding and stealing our palliatives, which were largely noodles. That's what I mean when I say we're a socialist party, and we're ideologically different. We don't have any ideological confusion in the AAC, sir.
Okay, so thank you, Shaure. Let's put you on hold for the moment and get back to the studio here. And again, let me take on the National Organizing Secretary of the party, Comrade Philip Oshokwe, on your campaign strategy. Because right now campaigns are going on parties that expect to, make an impression, are intensively campaigning and seeking, the support of the electorate. I'd like you to tell us, because I know that whoever wins the presidential election must have a national, spread. Does your campaign strategy, which your presidential candidate is saying does not necessarily have to be the rally type or the town hall type and all that, how effective do you think this strategy will be in terms of garnering the kind of national support that is desired to win a presidential election?
Thank you very much. Let me take a cue from my national leader, Omoyele Sowore, who just spoke now. You see, we have kind of diversified the strategy away from the jamboree we see out there. It used to be jamboree, having a stadium, filling people who might not even vote for you at the end of the day, to taking it back to the grassroots, back to doorsteps, back to town halls. These are where you have individuals, groups, or associations coming to talk to you about how they have fared so far, how the economy has dealt with them, has dealt with the household also, and then we have a tete-a-tete, we have a conversation on how we want to, bring succor to these people and how these challenges have affected them over time. So we are a bit away from the jamboree, like he has said. That's what we are doing. We've gone to grassroots. We are doing campus tours. We have a team that's their responsibility is to touch on campuses. We have those who are talking to market women. We have those who are talking to different associations. So you might not see us doing the jamboree or the flamboyant spending and pouring out so much resources in achieving little, to diversifying it into a direct contact with the people, the grassroots. The economy has been so challenging to everyone in the last 4 to 8 years. So going by that standard, which is the norm, will no longer be applicable. And the AAC, what we do is we usually bring up strategies that are ended up stolen or borrowed by other political parties, and you see them, trying to imbibe what we are doing. So we have left them with the jamboree style to talking to people, to the grassroots, appealing to the conscience of Nigerians. Nigerians have been badly hit in the last 8 years.
Are your activities also affected by the cash crunch or by, by money? Let me put it that way, because that's what the people are reporting, that smaller parties are, being affected by debt of finance, to carry out campaigns.
Well, there's no gainsaying. We don't have the political war chest like those who have stolen the Nigerian resources. So we are, using the little we can. Let me also correct this impression. There are successes you can leverage on that the big war chest might not be able to. The strategy we're employing, reaching out to people, talking to their conscience, hearing them out, individuals, groups, organizations. Let's know how this has affected you over time. And this is what we are bringing. And this is our social contract.
It's paying for you.
It is actually paying off. And I bet you, going forward, you will see this, reduction of the jamboree, the wide, style of campaign to this strategy we're employing now.
Okay, thank you indeed, Cromwell Oshokwe Philip. Let's turn to the National Secretary of the party, Ina Okopi Ago, National Secretary of African Action Congress Party.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not going to refer to your party as a smaller party.
You shouldn't.
I'd rather call it a young party made up of young people. Then, from what we've learned over the years in more stabilized democracies, there are parties who would say, fine, we don't have the wherewithal or the financial muscle, as he tried to explain, to actually go all out to the center, right? Who could say, okay, let's deal with councillorship. Let's get councillors. Let's get people to get into a councillor. I mean, it's a kind of recruitment process as well. Councillorship, council chairman, and the House of Assembly, and gradually you'll be, evolving, developing, and of course gathering some some more. So, is your party interested in that, or is it just the presidential election? Do you have interest in other smaller political positions like councillorship, chairman of government area, House of Assembly member, and what have you?
Absolutely. Thank you very much again. Thank you for having us. You see, I think I should begin by telling Nigerians the challenges we had prior to this electioneering process. For a period of over 3 years, our party was hijacked by people who were sponsored by state actors. And we only got the party back in June of last year, June 2nd.
Please hijack, explain further, please.
Okay, I'll say this. You see, when we registered the party in 2018, and shortly after the 2019 general election, some people who were financed by some state people came in and just hijacked the leadership of the party and was using it for transactional purposes, and where they totally deviated from what the party was established to do. And but that we were on that for close to 3 years, 3.5 years, and we went to court and got it back from the people, and so we're firmly in charge. And so this takeover by us happened on June 2nd, 2022. And it happened 6 days to the end of the primaries. And so basically we had just 6 days to organize primaries across board for all the positions being contested for. We did that in record times. And just to correct the impression, Shore is not the only person running. We had 15 governors at a time, but some restructuring happened within the party in the last 2 weeks. Some of them had to be pushed out because of anti-party activities and an attempt to return us back to where we were coming from. And so we have people running for House of Assembly, Senate, House of Reps. So it is not just the presidency we're gunning for. We have people doing that. And you begin to see, if you like, if you are in the States, you see these people campaigning. I just returned from Port Harcourt, where we had a huge event, and we had all these House of Assembly members who were running on our party's platform, and they're organizing perfectly at the grassroots. Yes.
All right. Thank you,
Yes.
Okopi Agu.
Correct.
Your
Okopi Agu,
remarks.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
So let's bring in the AAC PRP Joint Campaign Council Chairman. That's the national chairman of the party, Abdul Majid Yakubu Daudu. He's joining us from our Kano studio. Thank you very much, national chairman, for joining us. And I'll quickly ask you, we know that you flagged off your campaign in Kano. I would like to know, since after the campaign flag off in Kano, how many states has your party also campaigned? We understand that you are, having a different kind of campaign, on different platforms. And is your party really, really in this competition? Hello, National Chairman. Did you hear me? Did you hear me? May I repeat my question? Oh, okay. We're still trying to work out the connections there. So let's let's go to. Okay, so let's get back to. Okay, that's not okay. So go. Okay, so let's come back to the studio again. I'd like the National Secretary to respond to that question. Apart from Kano, where you had your national flag up.
Yes.
Which other states? How many states have you been to?
Okay, like if
Have
you
you reached?
listen,
I should say, have you reached?
I think we've reached everywhere. Right now, we're reaching the 37 or 36 states across the federation through this channel. We've been doing that, and we know that NTA has the widest coverage, and so we consider this another form of campaign to reach the people at the grassroots. You just brought on the national chairman, Abdul Majid. When it comes on, what you would hear from him is this. They had an event recently in Gombe. We were also part of the event, a regional event that was well attended. And to introduce the People's Redemption Party properly, I think you would remember, if you were around in the 80s and you were old enough to know them, they've been around for that long. They were the party, it is the party on which Aminu Kanu ran on. You had Balarabe Musa. So it's the oldest party. And so their spread nationwide is massive. And so they are organizing regional town hall meetings like we talked about, which is in the same mold and we're ideologically similar. And so it is easy to work with them because what they want is also what we want. And so the town hall approach is what we're going to be doing from next week. This week coming, we're going to be in Jigawa for the same event, joint arrangement with the PRP to gather all the people we can from the Northwest to assemble here in Duse and then talk about.
So you see your party tightly in this race?
Yeah, tightly. We're in this to win. What they would do, all these big media houses, what they try to do is try to focus squarely on some political party and call them the big party. When we look at them, we think that these are deliberately done to push back some people who are tightly in the race. When they say they have the front runners, you will be doing us injustice if you don't list us as part of the front runners. If the front runner thing is for people who gather people in stadiums and do nothing and just shout and all that, I think that would be beside it. We're in this to win. And like we have said, oftentimes we're going to shock people in this election. Nigerians are tired of the happenings around. People are really suffering. And so to show you how insensitive some of these our leaders are, they gather you in stadiums and give you the 5,000. It is on record. And then when people see that, they tend to want to look at us as small and not in the race. No, we are tightly in the race. But we will not gather people together and pay them 1,000 to appear and then
yes,
look like we're front.
That's appreciated. As a matter of fact, I'm interested, in the new format that you are bringing into the political space in Nigeria.
Yes.
That's commendable because it's innovative.
Correct.
And as time goes on, more innovations will come, and we could metamorphose into what we call big parties today. I want to believe that
we're big parties. I'm trying to tell you that we're not small
you're already
parties.
Big party. You're already a big party.
Our following, look, if you look at some of these people you call big parties, I can beat my chest and tell you, if you number them, they are no more than 20,000.
Okay, now
I mean the ones you call the front runners.
Okay,
yes.
Okay. Later, maybe we'll talk about structures soon, because when you talk about big parties, they talk about structures. What's the
I
difference
love that.
between
I
them
love
and
that
all
talk.
that?
Yes.
All right. Now we have a clear signal to introduce guest in Kano, which my colleague did earlier on when we had a poor audio connection. Abdul Majid Yakubu Daudu is the national chairman of the AAC PRP Joint Campaign Council. All right. Good morning, Abdul Majid, and welcome to the program. Say something for us to know whether you can hear, because you are Grimanson. I can see I can see you watching us from Kano there. But if you cannot hear us, I hope that our engineer is over there. Okay. Oh yeah.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We are glad indeed to have you, and let's remain with you because we have good signals right now. You are the national chairman of the AAC PRP Joint Campaign Council. Please explain that further to us, because as chairman of your party, this PRP connection. Can we have a better understanding of it before we now give you a question that is befitting to the chairman of a party that is campaigning for elections? And we shall pause him for a while now, and let's see what our engineers will be able to do to re-establish us with him. Now, let's see if we can get the AAC presidential candidate, Mr. Shore, on the line. And if Shore is on the line, I would like to ask him a further question. What is going on? Now, let's see if we can get the AAC presidential candidate, Mr. Shore, on the line.
Via connecting call.
Difficulty this morning, but we'll take care of that as we move on. So let's return to our Lagos studio where we have the AAC presidential candidate, Mr. Shore. Mr. Shore, if you can hear me, one of the simplest definitions of politics is about authoritative distribution of scarce resources. And in Nigeria, some zones of the country have always cried out over inequitable distribution of our resources, and in fact, which popularized the word marginalization. I recall that the man who put that word in a lexicon was the late Chuba Karibo, late Senate President. And this word has, of course, resonated with Nigerians, especially those from southern part of the country, marginalization. How do you intend to deal with this? Because that has eaten deep into the fabric of this country. Every other section of the nation complains of being marginalized. And if you become the president of this country, it's going to be a very huge challenge. How do you intend to tackle it?
Again, it is to understand fundamentally that Nigeria is a very diverse nation. Geopolitically, Nigeria is divided into 6 regions. And in each of the regions, we have resources located in those areas. What we have had problem with is not that resources have been scarce as such. As a matter of fact, there was a time Nigerian leaders made it openly clear that they had money, but their problem is how to spend it. And that was what exactly they went to do. They went and spent, they went on the spending binge, and that binge pauperized Nigeria. So what I would do as the president of Nigeria is to allocate resources to every Nigerian person as they deserve it, every Nigerian region as they deserve it, every Nigerian hospital, schools, as it's been designed to do so. And where the design fell short or has fallen short of equity or equality, we will ensure that we address that. So how do you do this? Is to ensure that every part of Nigeria that's producing resources get a good chunk of that resource, and the rest of them get their own fair share of the resource. And when you say resource or resources, the definition of resources is also changing all over the world. Very soon, and you should listen to this very clearly, oil will not be a major resource anymore because people are moving away from consumption of fossil fuel, exploration of it, because it has impact on the environment, and technology has overtaken a lot of what we call resource today. Technology has become the new resource. So for instance, if the northern part of Nigeria starts producing solar power for the rest of Nigeria, don't be surprised that they might be more valuable than oil. If my own part of the country, Ondo State, resumes the production of palm oil, for instance, they become the new resource. Because why? It costs, the sale of palm oil in the international market is actually more profitable than crude oil. A barrel of palm oil is about $600. That of crude oil is maybe at $94 as we're talking today. I'm not sure of the exact price. So first is to understand new resources, exploit them or explore them in ways that can benefit everybody, and also diversify from the lazy economy that we have now, and ensure that this is distributed equitably to people in the modern ways of distributing resources. Nigeria's problem has been greed. You know, a few people want to control the resources of everybody, and then this leads to marginalization. But the truth is that it is not only the areas where the resources are produced that are marginalized. The entire country, going by the statistics and indexes of poverty, is marginalized. So you have just two groups, likely, and to be honest, of those who are poor and those who are ultra rich. And I've stayed in Abuja for 3 years now, against my wish, to know that this is likely our problem. But that's not to say that there are no structural and institutional problems with who should get what. And that can be addressed or would be addressed by our own strategy of creating a brand new constitution for Nigeria, which will fundamentally and foundationally address the issue of resources ownership, distribution, allocation, and percentages for who gets what. So that's how we see it in our party, and that's how we address it. But the most important thing is that every citizen will count, and they'll get what they deserve. And put together, that will eradicate or erase that vocabulary called marginalization.
I like for our viewer to really get to know who the presidential candidate of the AAC is really, and of course what your party, how your party differs from the rest of the political parties that are on the ballot, that will be on the ballot paper. So I like for you to tell us how the AAC is different from the rest of the party, and we'll begin with the persona of the presidential candidates. The other candidates, have this thing about their presidential candidates that allure them to the people, that the people can really, identify with. What is it about your persona, that the electorate can identify with in terms of quality?
I would say, and I say this modestly, that I have been a person of consistency, conviction, integrity, been a person of character who has devoted his entire life to the betterment of the Nigerian state. The only difference between me and those other candidates is that I've not done so on the butter side of the struggle for governance. I've done it on the hard part, and that is the reason why, if you look at my face very well, you see scars, physical scars to show for it. I was, like I mentioned earlier, a young person who fought for democracy. If you've looked around on the internet, you see a video of myself at the age of 22 standing behind MQ Abiola, who won an election in 1993 and whose election was annulled by the military. I was that young person who, in my entire life, have always created ideas and created things from the scratch, including in 2018 when we needed a political party to carry our ideas to the fore, to the people. We started our political party to the scratch, and our secretary said that idea met Stonewall when they discovered that this is a very, very powerful party. The party was hijacked. I was arrested. I was detained for 5 months in Abuja. I'm one of the few people, and this should interest you, in the history of Nigeria. I'm the third person to ever be restricted to a city, Abuja. I was restricted to Abuja for 3 years. The first person that was ever restricted to a city was Pai Modu. He was restricted by the colonial masters because he challenged them to Auchi, and then Obafemi Awolowo, who was in 1963 restricted to Lekki, charged with treason. So I was charged with treason in 2019, restricted to Abuja for 3 years. And I'm a presidential candidate today who has brought to you an idea that will liberate Nigeria completely. I'm not unknown. I'm not a person of unknown quantity because the reason I say so is because I have been around. I'm a well-known person in all the circles. Those who in the media will also tell you, and I'm saying it for those who may not know, that I'm the publisher of Sahara Reporters, that online, technologically advanced, innovative platform that exposes corruption and takes on a system of exploitation in this country, and has done a lot of work to unravel things that would otherwise not have been unraveled. So that is, in a nutshell, my character. I'm exposed. I've traveled to about 20 countries. I have real education, and I mean it. I schooled in Nigeria from primary school to secondary school. I did my first degree at the University of Lagos, and the interviewer was one of my schoolmates, the female interviewer, Claire. And also, I traveled to the US, spent 20 years in the US, and obtained a master's degree. So I'm not a person that is sitting in front of you today without any ability to explain where I went to secondary school or primary school. So I don't say that, I shouldn't say that people should be attracted to me, but I think naturally Nigerians should be attracted to honest people, and we should jettison and abandon dishonest leadership in our life so that we can make that progress that's eluded us for almost 62 years now. And I'm ready, willing, and capable of turning the fortunes of this country around. You can trust me on that one, because this is the only thing I know how to do. Fight for what is right, just, and fair for my country, Nigeria.
All right, Mr. Shore, your party seems to be teaming up with PRP from what we heard. And one wonders if you will extend that kind of relationship or synergy with other parties who may share some ideologies with your party. It may not be total, as in 100% sharing of ideology, but you could have, some, interesting aspect of other parties that we would say, cool, let's team up, form alliance and get this done. Because what you are preaching is also what some other parties are preaching in terms of getting things done the right way, changing our attitude towards governance, changing our attitude towards politics. Some persons are already professional politicians, and I'm happy you are not, because you are still running your Sahara Reporters platform, and you are in politics. But some are professional politicians in this country, and that's also what part of our problem. Are you willing to share your thoughts, your ideology in terms of synergizing with another party to run this election? Is it a possibility?
We are the first to have an alliance of this scale in this election cycle. That's the alliance with the PRP Vanguard. And you saw our joint chair there, Abdul Majid in Kano. He's trying to join us, and he will explain better. We are very open to alliances, but we cannot enter into alliances with rogue parties. That's not possible. And we know them. We don't have to mention their names or individuals, but we are already in alliance with the oppressed. We are also just not a political party. We are a social movement in this country that has been fighting for justice, equality, and fairness in our society. We, as party operators and as social movement, engage in fighting against police brutality. We fight for human rights on a daily basis. I personally in Abuja go to fight for journalists. I remember one time I had to go to the NBC to help pull out Channels TV editors and operators who were summoned by the NBC under some unclear circumstances. We engage in fighting for groups, and try to protect their interests. Those who are fighting and agitating for nationhood, we talk to them. Those who are agitating for their rights to education, students, we participate in their activities. We fight for market women, we fight for market men, we fight for children. And these are documented struggles over the years. So if there's anybody out there who want to join us, who believe in what we are doing, they are free to join us. And our secretary was telling you, at the point, and this is not a big deal, but important, INEC asked political parties around Nigeria to submit their membership register. The so-called big parties could not submit their register. They didn't have a register. We had a digital register. When we submitted to INEC, they were shocked. Till today, no other political party could submit any digital register to INEC. It was only AAC. They were shocked that we had digital register and that every member of the party had proper name, they had a phone number, and they had an address where you could locate them. So I'm just telling you that we are one of the most organized parties, and we urge you not to call us a small party or a fringe party. It is these transactional parties that you should be calling fringe parties because they're not organized, they don't have ideology. They only show up when there's time for election, and when the elections are over, they go on exile. So we are the ones who stay here, whether there's election or not. We are fighting on the street. We are fighting for you, and we just want to make that struggle permanent so that you can get a fresh lease of life in the country called Nigeria. Let me say one thing before you jump in again. I know the moderator is trying to come on. Life should not be this hard for you as a Nigerian. And we want to make sure that you realize that in your lifetime. You shouldn't die like this. Let's give you a new chance to really see how countries work, how to drive on good roads, have electricity, give you trains, send your children to school, make you go to hospitals that can treat you of your ailments and not compound it. Let's provide you the right kind of space for you to flourish so that you don't have to, at the age of 40, move to Canada where, it's really cold now, Europe where you're a second-class citizen or second-rated citizen. Live free, not, in your head, but in your country.
All right, Shora, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll just quickly go on a short break. We have to pay our bills. When we come back, we'll now bring in the national chairman, Abdul Majid Daudu, who is joining us from our Kano studios. Please don't go away.
I pledge to Nigeria, my country. Nadoka Kauriga Kasata, Nigeria.
To be faithful, loyal, and honest. To
serve Nigeria with all my strength.
Nigeria should concentrate more on things that can bring us together. Unite us instead of separating us at this trial time. We actually have culture, we have heritage, we have a whole lot, and it's going to promote unity in diversity. When a country is not safe, when there's no unity, when there's no peace, nothing will really move.
Every day in our country, senior citizens are discriminated against, disparaged, and treated with disdain by those who ought to respect them. We are all complicit in the way we have treated the elderly members of our society as institutions, families, or members of a shared society. Every time senior citizens get offered less than they deserve for the work they do because they are old, poor, and desperate, we are failing them. Senior citizen loses a child, and wow, they must be responsible for their death. Every time a senior citizen gets labeled a witch, is called mad, and shooed out of the way because they have no memory of where they were headed and look unkempt, we are failing them. We say, abeg, you don't old, make it do die, make everybody for rest, to ailing parents, uncles, and aunts. That's discrimination. That is neglect. When you see an old woman getting beat up and being accused of witchcraft, do not turn the other way. Stop and teach people that white hairs, wrinkles, and hunchbacks are no evidence of witchcraft. Aging comes with a memory decline. Sometimes it's not out of place to have elderly people lose their way, forget details of their lives, and how to properly take care of themselves. When they get to this stage, they deserve your empathy, not scorn. Our ailing fathers, mothers, aunties, and uncles are deserving of quality healthcare and peaceful transition. Make their last moments memorable. Senior citizens have paid their dues. They deserve your care. Stop all forms of discrimination against them today.
The security situation in Nigeria has been reasonably stable in spite of activities of unpatriotic elements engaged in various criminal activities around the country. Daily situations coming in from states. 2 months ago, it has shown relative peace on many of our highways, such as Abuja, Kaduna, Kaduna Birnin Gwari, Sokoto, Zamfara, Zamfara, Kaduna.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Our pastors, our imams, in every church, in every mosque, please realize that in the course of praying for peaceful and transparent elections, we all have duties beyond prayers. If we want a stable society before, during, and after the elections, what should you be saying to those that worship with you? All Sundays and all Fridays, you are saddled with the responsibility of bringing up good generations. It is therefore your duty to both man and God to ensure peace all the time, no matter about elections alone. People talk to people and people listen. Talk to your followers. Make them listen to ensure peaceful 2023 elections. This message is from the National Orientation Agency.
This message is brought to you from the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
All right, welcome back to the program. It's Good Morning Nigeria, and we are having conversation with the African Action Congress Party. The presidential candidate is Comrade Moyele Sowore. We also have the national chairman joining us from our Kano studios. If we have Claire, can we go to Kano, director? Okay, so here is Abdul Majid Daudu, who is a national chairman of the African Action Congress Party, and of course the PRC, PRP, AAC, and PRP Joint Alliance Party. So, can you now tell us what your party slogan is? Take it back action. What exactly are you taking back? And also explain to us the socialism aspect, because we hear you are also a social, your manifesto is based on socialism. You know, what is that, so that the viewer would understand what variant of socialism that your party is promising to Nigerians?
Thank you. Good morning. Thank you for having me. I hope I'm clear and the connection is in order right now. To quickly go straight to your questions, the take it back, you know, it's getting what is due to us, claiming back Nigeria. Nigeria is in the hands of war, you know, in sheep clothing, you know, in the hands of dogs. So we need to wrestle and fight and claim what is naturally ours. Our country, it's our own natural responsibility to mobilize the good Nigerian people and then reclaim what belongs to us. This is a responsibility. This is what we need to all do collectively, you know, as vanguards in mass movement, in Nigerian mass movement, you know, to make sure that we wrestle with these dinosaur political parties, you know, who have held our lives in bondage, who have denied us our freedom, who has jeopardized the beautiful future that awaits Nigeria and Nigerians, you know. That's what it simply means, taking it back. We need to take it back. We can't continue like this. This is not our destiny. This is not what we bargained for. This is not what should be given to us. So that is it. Coming to the next question, the issue of commonality or ideology, you know, inclination towards socialism. PRP, you know, originally was founded one of the finest and the brilliant Nigerian patriots. People like the Saadu Zungur, you know, people like the Dr. Yusuf Bala Usman of blessed memory, you know, people like the Chinua Achebe, You know, good people like Michael Imodu, Mala Aminu Kano, Yusuf, and the likes of them. These are one of the best stuffs that Nigeria was able to produce, and they were able to put Nigeria on a very straight and a proper agenda that will guarantee a better and a better future for Nigeria. The PRP, you know, summarily, I will tell you that a PRP socialist inclination and ideology is just trying to ensure that we have a government that is responsible, you know, responsive and responsible. You know, socialism advances, you know, a system, a socio-economic and political system where the government will own and control the resources of the nation. Government will play a leading role in the economy of the. That enables the government the wherewithal, the resources, the power to guarantee its fundamental responsibilities, functions, and duties, like the duty of providing goods and services, ensuring security, welfare, well-being of the people, providing what it takes to have a stable and a well advanced state in the 21st century. So PRP and AAC, common joint shared ideology, we believe that the government should have the capacity, you know, and that capacity comes from its resources. When a government is poor, how will it play any regulatory responsibility, you know, like the neoliberal and the capitalist agenda will tell you that the government is supposed to regulate only regulate. How do government play a regulatory policy when it doesn't have the wherewithal, the capacity, the both material, financial and intellectual capacity to do that, you know? So the socialist inclination in PRP is, like we say, is anti-privatization, number one. Number two is anti-debt burden, you know, borrowing, you know, without substantiating what has been done with that money that you borrowed, you know, leaving Nigerian people and children and future, you know, in debt, you know. You know, the socialist ideology believes in equitable distribution of natural resources, you know, breaking down inequality, you know, and also ensuring that the state is being established not for profit, not as a business. The state is not run as a business venture. State is run as a system that is provided to ensure that people's life and security and well-being is being guaranteed at all costs. It doesn't matter that the government is losing, like the businessmen or the private sector will want to put it, because they are solely profit-driven. You know, in a state, it's welfare. So these are some of our ideologies. We are looking at a joint alliance, PRP-AAC joint alliance, you know, that will bring together all the left front and all the progressive Nigerians who really wants to take back our country, so that we ensure that we have a state that is able to provide quality and sound education, that is able.
All right, Abdul Majid Yakubu Daudu, thank you indeed. But if I understand you quite clearly, you know, you said that the socialist inclination is what your party and AAC want to put in place in Nigeria. But I also know that the socialism in the world began collapsing some decades ago, and some are reforming theirs, like China. I believe that the kind of socialism you want to bring to Nigeria will be a reformed, reformed type.
Capitalist socialism.
Yes, so that Nigerians will also understand and fully, because we have some ethnic groups in Nigeria that are egalitarian in nature or Republican in nature. So it might be a huge task if you get there. For now, time is not on our side, but we'll try and tidy up a few things. For instance, some specifics like agriculture. All leaders will come and tell you, I will do things in agriculture. We've had agricultural programs, Operation Feed the Nation of the 80s. We had a revolution, whatever name that were given to that. All that are geared towards, you know, enhancing agriculture. We also have power. Of course, power has been in fact it's It's one of the perennial challenges Nigeria has had for over 62 years, and one wonders why we are still where we are today. So, what are you going to do differently?
The first thing we'll do about power is this. Remove power from the exclusive list. They will all tell you they'll do that, but I'm sure they don't mean it. That is the first thing we'll do. The next thing we're going to do, and then because of the shortness of the time, I won't go into the specific. The next thing we'll do about power as contained in our manifesto is this. We're going to reverse the privatization process that took place and has brought in things like the Abuja distribution company, the Eco distribution, because we know it's all a scam. It has not served us well. We would reverse it, and then we would audit the process. We will need to check what went on, because between when they were privatized and today, the government had continued to subsidize them, and we have been at the receiving end. Nothing is coming to the people. So we'll do that. And then what we'll do next is to ensure that there's an energy mix to help grow this generation capacity to at least 20,000 megawatts. And we'll do that, achieve that by looking at solar, of course. The entire country is well situated to be powered by solar. And a lot of people do not understand that solar has the capacity to generate all the electricity we need in this country. We also have hydro, and then the biomass, of course. And then when we say make power available, it is not giving people lantern in the village. This one, you have small solar, this thing on top. That is in another generation. Any power that is not able to help us set up cottage industries in our local areas to employ people is not good enough. So we're going to ensure that this power generation is broken down where people are able to, companies are able to generate and sell power.
Are you going to sustain national grid, for instance?
National grid is in another generation. We should break it down to places where people, companies, states are able to generate their power. And then you have mini grids all over. Just distribute it. When you have an excess, then you can channel that excess to the national grid. That is what we should be looking at. Okay, not the national grid that does not have a distribution channel. These distribution channels were probably built in the 40s and 50s, and they are still standing. They are tired.
Sorry,
Nothing
we have
has,
to.
yes.
We have to quickly, touch on other.
Yes. And he asked about points. Agriculture.
Yes. And I would let the organizing secretary, take that in a few minutes before we return to the presidential candidate.
Okay, so the agriculture. Yeah, you see, one thing we have gotten wrong over time is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. For us in the AAC, we have been able to put all these sectors of the economy into perspective and know where the challenges are coming from and how we want to improve going forward. For agriculture, for instance, how can you, as a nation, talk of producing when you don't even have security? You see, security comes first. He spoke about power. Security is another major challenge we are facing. Now, if this challenge of security is being tackled, that would enhance other growth in other aspects of the economy.
That's the question we will put to the presidential candidate, because I know it's an area he would also want to
delve. So basically, for agriculture, you see, once we're able to solve that aspect of insecurity where farmers can be able to go to farm, we're not producing, we're only consuming. Now, okay, the borders are even closed as we speak. What do we sell out to international communities? What do we give out? What does come in? Agriculture, for instance, is what should sustain us first. Yes, but yeah, you can ask, are the borders really closed? Yes, for the common man, the borders are closed, the borders are shut. But agriculture, we can't even go to the farms. Look at the Northeast, for instance. And this is where the North have been able to thrive over the years. Agriculture. Are they producing right now? No, because of the insecurity in the land. As I'm talking to you right now, people go to their farm with the mindset of saying they might not come back.
What are you going to do? Sorry, Kirian. What are you going to do differently? Because at the moment, the diversification program of this administration in the area of agriculture is showing a lot of results. You know how much, what we have gained in terms of rice production, but we are still depending on, foreign countries for the importation of certain, raw materials. So what gap are you going to fill in this area? Kiran, sorry, he wants.
No,
he said he
it's
wants.
okay. Let me take that on, because I'm a farmer.
Okay.
I was on the farm yesterday, but we had to go with security.
Okay.
What my organizing secretary is trying to tell you is that you said the rice revolution has succeeded. I beg to disagree. How much is a bag of rice today? What we're doing at the level of the AAC is this. We went to ensure that, let us look at Nigeria as it is. Every state in Nigeria is able to produce one crop or the other. But what we've done over the years is to come up where the CBN governor has almost turned into a bank manager somewhere and then distributing loans that have failed. But what we will do, what we're planning to do in the African Action Congress is to organize our farmers properly. Organize them at the grassroots after taking care of security, because you have to be able to go to the farm. You can't be saying you are diversifying to agriculture and people can't go to the farm, because when you go to the farm, you are either killed, kidnapped, or just.
Okay, okay. Well, I'll pause you there for now, and let's return to Mr. Shore. You've done clear explanations, no doubt about that. But again, you have not provided the template for you to work. Because when you say agriculture should be functional, there has to be template for that.
Correct.
And some processes, that many governments have also gone through, and we appreciate it. For instance, rice. Of course, you cannot deny the fact that rice is appreciated. The cost of rice, yes, could be high. It could be high because if you stop the importation of rice, it will take time for our own to grow, to begin to come down again in price. But if you allow the ones coming in to come in, of course, we can never grow rice. As a matter of fact, I've argued with people on the issue of we had the crack economies in this country, but strong ones indeed, even those who are at the world scene. Yet we were importing. So I say, okay, if that is the economy, how can we be important when you say I have a good economy and we're importing things? You have made a good point, but this government has also done something good in terms of agriculture. But how do you improve on it? That's the question I want to put to Shore now. But my main question to you has to do with oil. Well, that is the life wire of this nation for over the years now, which is of course not the right thing to do, but we have failed to diversify over the years, like Indonesia and Norway and other countries who are producing oil but who depend on agriculture for survival. What are you going to do? Our refineries are not functional. We are importing refined fuel, exporting crude, importing refined for over 3 decades now. What can you do differently to change that trend?
Let me quickly also answer to the issue of agriculture, because that's also a life wire of any country. And I want to add to what my colleagues have said, that we are not only depending on agriculture of go to farm. We are depending on modern agriculture, technologically driven agriculture. Most Nigerians don't know that you can actually grow crops without entering a farm today. And this is a conversation for another day. So to talk about oil, I think one is that we must start thinking energy transition, because very soon, if we depend too much on oil, you'll probably be drinking our oil, and we shouldn't get to that point before we make that right decision. Transition is very important for oil, but before then, we have to fix our refineries. We have 4 refineries in this country that are not working, but we are paying for them. We are paying their staff. We are paying for maintenance that are not done. Get rid of the corruption in those places. I have said it is not commonsensical. It makes no sense for us as a country to invest $2.7 billion in a private refinery in Lagos, whereas we cannot invest a dime in our own refineries. And when you refine a petroleum product from crude, you have about 6,000 products that you get from it. We would take out our crude, refine it, and come back with one product, which is gasoline, petrol, and still subsidize that one product. We don't subsidize diesel. We don't subsidize jet A1 fuel or kerosene. We have gas, huge gas reserves in Nigeria. In Ogoniland alone, there are over 6 point something billion cubic feet of gas. We have it all over Nigeria. And these are products of the future that we should invest in, even though as an environmentalist, I won't depend on gas for too long, because if you overexploit your gas, you will be confronted with earthquakes, especially if you engage in what they call fracking. So please, let's think beyond oil. That's number one thing I'll say to you. And secondly, before we do so, let's ensure that we produce oil to the fullest of our capacity by repairing our refineries that are not working right now.
Okay, so that we just have less than 60 seconds for you to respond to this question, and it's on the issue of security. And that's because I know you've always been an activist. In fact, you started being an activist when you were 10 or 12, and when you had to ride a motorbike, you know, to the lake to fetch to look for fish, and you've had unfriendly friendship with the security agencies. So if you do win this election, you then become the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. How would you reposition the DSS and specifically the police, for whom you have, you know, been at loggerheads for a long time?
You know, I must assure everyone that I'm not coming for vengeance or revenge, but there will be some kind of vengeance against incompetence, and there will be vengeance against excesses of the police, the DSS, and it won't be within constitutionally mandated roles that they are supposed to play. For instance, I want to position the Nigerian police with 350,000 officers to do the job of policing and not to be carrying bags for madams or be doing the guard in the homes of rich people. I lived in Abuja for 3 years, as I told you. If you walk around a certain neighborhood, you find 6 policemen, sometimes 10, sometimes a combination of security forces guarding empty houses. And then the rest of Nigeria is largely unprotected. And you have an unruly police, a police that is largely undisciplined, engaging in torture, inhuman and degrading treatments of citizens. I will not accept that. I will make sure that our police are decently paid. They have housing schemes. I will not pay, for instance, the Nigerian police officer at this time less than 250,000 naira as minimum wage, because you cannot ask policemen to protect a country when they're on empty stomach. You are merely then asking them to engage in corruption. Pay them very well. Ensure that they are well trained, well disciplined, and you have a recruitment process that is pure. When I mean pure, you should not be electing or recruiting people into the police. I mean, recruiting people into the police without doing background checks on them.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Shore. Of course, you're a journalist, you know that we have time issue right now, and I would like to thank you. I'm with you on the issue of reforming the police. And at this point, I'd like to thank you very immensely for sharing your time, your thoughts with us on this program. We're beginning to understand Mr. Shore once more. Many of us are beginning to really know who you are and what you're capable of doing. We just, of course, pray for you to, of course, get your dreams come true. Thank you. Mr. Shore is, of course, the presidential candidate of African Action Congress, now teaming up with the PRP. Thank you again for coming. Ina Okopi-Agu, National Secretary, African Action Congress Party. Thank you for coming this morning. I was going to call you Ago, as we call it in Igbo land. You say yours is Ago.
I understand. If you look at the meanings, yeah, they're similar.
That is same. Okay, thank you. We also had the Comrade Oshokwe Philip Ibeminogena. Yeah. I got that correctly.
You got it correctly.
My colleague ran away from it. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
The National Organizing Secretary of AAC.
Thank you for having me.
Abdul Majid Yakubu Dauda is National Chairman of the AAC PRP Joint Campaign Council. Thank you for coming this morning. We had issues with you at the initial time. Maybe next time we'll have better time to talk to us. Thank you for coming on the program today.
All right, and that's it on Good Morning Nigeria for today. We thank you. Always remember to join us in our campaign against rape and rapists. I am Claire Adilabu Abdul-Razak. Bye-bye for now.
And I am Kirian. Have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow.